Welcome to part 2 of the Intro to Web Programming tutorial. So in the first part I showed you an intro to HTML, just gave you some basics, and we created a basic website with no style, just plain and ugly. And now we're just going to add some style to it. Alright, so first thing you want to do is open up your Sublime again. And so what I did is I deleted everything in the index.html except for the nav bar. So now it looks like this. Let me close this, and it's just the home and the contact button. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add an image to it. Alright, so the way to add an image is you want to open up an img tag, and then the only thing that it takes is a source attribute. And so source attribute is the name of the file. So you can see down here I downloaded it from online and it's called lebron.jpg. So I'm going to type that in, lebron.jpg. And then when I saved it, I made sure to save it to the same file that all my other files are in, my index.html and my contact page one. Alright, so if I were to save and reload that, you can see the image pops up here. Alright, and in here you can see that the image tag actually doesn't have a closing tag. So the difference with this is that the image tag doesn't have any content, like any text that goes between it or anything. The only thing that it takes is the source attribute, which is the name of it, and that's about it. Alright, and the image tag is also a block element. As you can see, I talked about it in the last tutorial a little bit, but here you can see that over here the A tags, I put them right after each other, but somehow they ended up on the same line. These are called inline elements. And then when I created an image tag down here, it came on another line. That's called a block element. Alright, and so after that I had just like a paragraph. So I'm gonna open up a p tag, and so a p tag is just for any large amounts of text. And so I already got some text online. It's my file, but I'm gonna type in LeBron. I'm just gonna get some text on some information on him. Alright, and then I'm gonna go back in here and just type it in here. So p tag is another block element. So after this, it'll go on the next line and just have our text down there. So if I were to save and rerun this, oops, save, reload. Alright, we see that come down there. Alright, so we're just gonna start with this simple page right here, but we're gonna style it so it looks better than this because this is just plain. So the way to style pages is to create a different file called a CSS file, which stands for Cascade Styling Sheet. And so over here, I created one. You just go to create a new file and then type in the name, whatever you want. I called mine style, but make sure to add .css so it knows it's a CSS file. All right. And so now we need to know how to connect these two files so that whatever we do in here affects our index.html page. And so I already have it down here, but I'm just going to start over. All right. So you want to open up a link tag. And then if you autocomplete that, it has three different attributes. It has the rel, the type, and the href. The href is the one that we're concerned about, and that's the name of the file. And you got to make sure that your CSS file, like the other ones, are in the same folder that everything else is in. So mine is called style.css. And so the type and the rel just let you know that it's a CSS file. So the type is text.css or text/CSS, and then the rel is style sheet. All right. Alright, so we want to affect our body tag. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in the name of the tag in our CSS body, and then we're going to open up our parentheses, and then we're going to close them down here with another one. Alright, so now to affect certain attributes, all you have to do is type in the name of the attribute, and then, so what we're going to do is background, and then the value for it, we're just going to say purple, and then you want to close it with the semicolon. Alright, so if we were to save that and rerun it, now we can see our page is connected because it affected our body. Alright, so the next thing we want to affect is our nav. We want to put a different background color and maybe change the color of the links inside. Alright, so to do that, so we want to target our nav. So go look for the name of the tag. So it's nav. Alright, open up our braces again, and then we can type in background again, and this time we'll do yellow. So remember to have the correct syntax. You have the name of the attribute, a colon, and then the value for that attribute, and then a semicolon to close it off. And so now you can see that it runs. Some other things that you can change is the height, width, and matter of fact, if you just type in just a random letter, you can see all the different attributes that you can change. But the one that we want to change right now is our, let's say, our height. And then we'll just put, let's say, 50 pixels. So 50 and then px for pixels, and then you want to close it with the semicolon. and then rerun it, and you see that it gets bigger. Alright, so now we want to change the color of these links that are inside of our navigation bar. Alright, so the way to do this is, so I'm going to show you one thing first. So if I were to create another link down here, so if you remember how to do that, you just open it with the A, and then I'm not going to have it lead anywhere. I'm just going to show a demonstration, so I'm just going to put some random letters in there. Alright, so now you can see that they're all blue. Alright, so if I were to go in here and target an element, and I want to target A, so if I were to put a color on that and change it to white, you would see that it's going to affect all of them. But if you want to affect certain ones, you want to go to the parent tag that it's in. So these A links up here are inside of the nav tag. So you want to go in here and you want to type in nav, and then you can type in A. So it's going to target all the links that are inside of the nav tag. All right. And then now you can go background, let's say black. No, not background. No, let's go color. So color will just change the color of the actual tags. Background will be the background color of it. Alright. So now you can see only these ones are black and this one is still blue. Alright. Then another property that we can change is let's go back into our nav, and we want everything to be in the center. And to do that, we use text align. So you can see text align, and you can do right, left, or center. What we want is center. And okay, so if we rerun this, so now that's in the middle. Alright, so next thing we're going to change is this P tag right here. Alright, so we could just go in here like we've been doing for the rest of these and type in P, go like that, and then change background to red or something like that. But I'm going to show you another way to target specific elements. Alright, since there could be many different P tags inside of our HTML file, we need to know how to target a specific P tag. Alright, so I'm going to erase this. So for here, so if you want to target a specific P tag, you want to go in there and give it an ID. And then it'll give you a string, and then that'll be the name of that ID. So we'll just call it description. So now if we go in here and we want to change the P tag that has the ID of description, we go in here, and instead of typing in P like we would for the other ones, we can go in here and type in a hashtag and then the name of the ID. So we typed in description for the name, and then the same way, just open up the curly brackets, and then now you can change the background to, let's say, white. And now let's see if it works, and you can see it works. Alright, and so another way you can do that is to give it a class. So if you were to use ID, ID is only used for one specific element that you want to target. But sometimes there are many different paragraphs that you want to have the same type of style. So in that case, you would use a class. And the only difference is instead of using ID, you'd use class equals description. And then you can also use it for any different tag that you want to affect the same way as this P tag. So you can give that class to, let's say, just this link up here. So only this paragraph and this link tag will be affected when we change the class description's attributes. So instead of using a hashtag, you want to use a dot when you're using classes. Alright, so now if we were to save and run that, you can see the background of this turned to white, and then the background of this is still white because we never changed anything. But if we were to put like red, red, then those two would both change since they're in the same class. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this off again. Alright, and then we can remove this link, and I guess we can keep that class there. Alright, so I'm going to change this background to make it look better. I'm going to actually delete the background and just put a color. So the color is just going to be the color of the actual text, not its background. So I'm going to put color white, remove that background. Okay, so you want to get used to using IDs in classes. So instead of targeting the name of the parent class, from now on we're going to target different IDs. So I'm going to put an ID on this image, and I'm going to say ID equals, let's say, front image. Alright, so now what we want to do is change the height of that. So since it was an ID and not a class, we're going to use the hashtag and then call it front image, the name of the ID. And then we're going to change the width for that. So right here, you just type in width, your semicolon, and then the value. So let's say we want that to be, um, say 400 pixels. See how that looks. All right. And now you can see it got much bigger. And another way to change width and height is you can actually put a percent value as well. So if I were to put 50% instead of 400 pixels, 50%, it's going to be the size of 50% of the tag that it's in. So right here it's in the body tag, and our body tag goes from all the way from the left all the way to the right, since it's the size of the full screen. So now it's 50%. All right. And now I'm going to introduce you to divs. So a div is another tag that you can use, and a div is like a container. So you open it with div, and then you can put paragraphs, images, whatever you want in there. It's just a container so that you can reference all the elements at once. And so what we want to do is we're going to put our image into a div tag. So div, and then instead of closing it up here, we're going to put it down here and close it. And so the ID for this is going to be image div. All right. So what we want to do for that image div is we want to center everything that's in that div. So let's say is a ID, so we're going to use hashtag again. So I'm going to do image div. All right, and then we're going to do text align center. Whoops. So that's going to center everything that's in there. All right.